What's good YouTube, Ben here, welcome to the next video on the channel. In this one, I'm going to give you my next Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile. This one's for Exodia. Let's get into this. Alright, I've finally gotten around to making a new deck. It's actually been a couple of months since I last built one. So, we're going to hop straight into this. This is my new Exodia deck, and it's actually not too bad, like considering the cards that it runs. So, of course, we're running one copy of Right Leg of the Forbidden One, one copy of Left Leg of the Forbidden One, one copy of Right Arm of Forbidden One, one copy of Left Arm of the Forbidden One. Of course, you're going to want all 5 pieces of Exodia. It's the whole point of the deck. We're running 2 copies of Effect Veiler. This card actually comes in clutch more than you think it does, because this card helps shut down cards like Baron de Fleur, which are going to cancel out your effects. So it's really great to run for that reason. Also to stop your opponent's plays from taking you out too fast. 2 copies of Magician's Souls. We're running this purely for its draw power, because you can send up to, once it's on the field, you can send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand and or field to the graveyard, draw that many cards. So if you send 2 from your hand, you get to draw 2 cards. Plain and simple. And if this card's in your hand, you can send one level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard, then activate one of these effects. Special summon this card, blah blah blah. The second effect doesn't matter, but the first one does, because it allows you to special summon it. You can just normal summon it as well, so, and this effect will still activate, so it's fine. We're running 1 copy of Morphing Jar. Now, I know that Morphing Jar is a very dangerous card, especially nowadays, because your opponents want to get cards in the graveyard 99% of the time. However, if you have nothing in your hand, Morphing Jar has helped me out a few times. In fact, I actually drew all 5 pieces of Exodia in one duel off of Morphing Jar. We're running 2 copies of the Spellbook Magician of Prophecies, so if this card's normal summoned or flip face up, add 1 Spellbook card from your deck to your hand. Plain and simple, it allows you 4 extra draw power with spellbook cards, which we'll go into in a little bit. We're running 1 copy of Exodia the Forbidden One. Of course, this is the final piece of Exodia. We do need it. We're running 1 copy of Mathematician. When this card is normal summoned, you can send 1 level 4 lower monster from your deck to the graveyard. When this card is drawn by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card. So, summoning it already allows you to draw a card when it gets destroyed by battle anyway, but it's also got a really cool effect when you can normal summon, you can send 1 level 4 or lower monster from your deck to the graveyard. And this can help for another strategy with this deck by sending a piece of Exodia to the grave, but we'll get into that in a little bit. We're running 3 copies of Witch of the Black Forest. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add 1 monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, but you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with that name for the rest of the turn. You can only use the effect of Witch of the Black Forest once per turn. So this is great for adding Exodia pieces to your hand, and because of its effect, it just says sent from the field to the graveyard. It does not matter how it gets sent. You could use it for a link play, you could use a card effect to send it on your side, doesn't matter, it will still trigger, which is great. We're running 2 copies of Summon a Monk. While this card's face up on the field, it cannot be attributed. If this card is normal or flip summoned, change this card to defense position. Once per turn, you can discard 1 spell, special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your deck. But it goes into defense mode. Sorry, it can't attack on the turn. Now, you can use Summon a Monk to get Witch of the Black Forest out, so you can then send it off with like a link play or something if you want to. Or you can just keep it on the field for another effect I'm going to go into in a little bit. But it just gets Witch of the Black Forest out faster. 1 copy of the legendary Exodia Incarnate. So it cannot be normal summoned set, must be special summoned from your hand by attributing 1 Forbidden One monster. Gains 1000 attack for each Forbidden One monster in your graveyard, unaffected by other cards' effects. Once per turn, during your end phase, add 1 Forbidden One monster from your graveyard to your hand. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can reveal any number of Forbidden One monsters in your hand, and if you do, draw 1 card for each. So not only does this add for greater draw power once it's in the grave, we do have a way, by the way, of getting Exodia pieces back to our hand. I just want to say that now. It allows you to send them to the graveyard to not only give you a big beat stick if you need it, but it also adds for the extra effect of drawing power for Exodia pieces. If you have 2 in your hand, once this goes to the graveyard by battle, you get to draw 2 cards, and 1 for 1, 3 for 3, and so on. 1 copy of Illusion of Chaos. This is only in the deck because of Magician's Souls, because ideally you want to special summon it. You can use this card as well, but you want this card on the field rather than in the grave, so we've put that in there just for that. 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, draw 1 card, your opponent gains 1000 life points, just adds for extra draw power. 3 copies of the Toon Table of Contents. This just allows you to basically remove 2 cards from your deck. So in essence, you're running a 38 card deck, or rather with these, you're running like a 36 card deck. So it just adds for greater draw power. Plus, you'll be left with a copy of this in your hand, which you can then use with cards like Summon a Monk in order to get rid of it. or Morphing Jar if you needed it. 1 day of peace. Each player draws 1 card, and neither player takes damage until the opponent's next turn. This is just a great way to stall and to draw, which is great. You can stall for an extra turn, which is nice. 3 copies of the Spellbook of Knowledge. Send to the graveyard either 1 spellcaster monster you control or 1 of the spellbook card from your hand or face upon the field. Accept Spellbook of Knowledge, and if you do draw 2 cards, you can only activate 1 per turn. So this just allows you to draw 2 cards by sending, I don't know, Witch of the Black Forest, which is a spellcaster, to the graveyard to get an Exodia piece and to draw 2 cards. It's a great way of actually drawing through this deck. 1 copy of Part of Extravagance, hence we're bringing a bunch of random cards in the extra deck. At the start of your main phase, banish 3 or 6 random face down cards from the extra deck face down. Draw 1 card for every 3 cards banished. So if you send 6, you get to draw 2 cards. It's just a way to add more draw power to the deck. Also, it confuses your opponent as well because they don't know what you're running, which is great. 3 copies of Wonder Wand. So Wonder Wand is actually a really cool card. Equip only to a spellcaster monster, it gains 500 attack. If you control the equipped monster in this card, you can send both to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. So again, great way of draw power. You can also use this again with Witch of the Black Forest in order to send that to the grave, add an Exodia piece, and then draw 2 extra cards. 2 copies of the Spellbook of Life. Banish 1 spellcaster type monster from your graveyard and reveal 1 of the spell card in your hand, and then target 1 spellcaster monster in your graveyard, special summon it in attack position, and equip it with this card. The equipped monster's level increases by the level of the monster that was banished at the card's activation. So basically, you can banish this and another spellbook card to add Witch of the Black Forest from graveyard, and summon it in attack position. Again, adds Witch of the Black Forest. You can also use it to get rid of for this effect as well. So you use this, get rid of 1 of these, draw 2 cards. 1 copy of Called by the Grave. This is actually a great way of blocking certain plays with certain decks, especially with stuff like Salamangrates that pop a lot in the graveyard. Basically, any deck that pops in the graveyard you can shut down quite quickly with just 1 copy of Called by the Grave. So it targets 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do until the end of the next turn, its effect is negated as well as the activity effects and effects on the field as monster with the same original name. And then finally, 3 copies of Obliterate. You can target 1 monster on the field, send 1 Forbidden One monster or Exodia card from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, return the target to hand. This is a great way to start removing from the field, but its effect also plays into this card as well, which is nice. If this card is sent from the spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, you can target 1 Forbidden One monster or Exodia card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So if there are any in the graveyard, you just get rid of it. You can use, I don't know, let's say this card's effect. You can remove it from the field. As soon as it's removed, it doesn't matter how it's removed, you can add Exodia pieces from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a great way of not only powering up this beef stick, but also to get cards back into your hand. We run 3 copies for that reason. But that's the main deck. I'm not going to go into the extra deck because there's like no point. I've literally just thrown in a bunch of random nonsense, basically just to confuse the opponent. But yeah, let me know what you think about this deck in the comments down below. I'll be doing a video soon on a duel with this deck, so you can see kind of how it works. So yeah, if you want to see more like this on YouTube, don't forget you can also support the channel further by becoming a channel member from as little as 99 pence per month here in the UK. And don't forget, I do live stream. When I go live here on YouTube and over on Twitch at the same time. When I go live here on YouTube, I go live in the shorts form feed, so it's more for mobile. But if you want to catch that exact same stream in full 1080p, go over to Twitch. It happens at the exact same time. That link is down below.